here with three-time Arnold Classic champion Dexter Jackson on the Thursday, 2 days before prejudging the finals. Dex, being back here, obviously, going for four. What's it like being back here, but not just being back here as the guy to beat once again?
It feels good, man. The last couple years, have been pretty rough on me because I'm getting older and my body was kind of doing what it wants to do and wasn't really responding like it used to. So when I started working with George Farah, we've pretty much figured out why, and now we're pretty much back to where we were, 2 years ago when it was pretty easy for me to get in shape and all that good stuff. So it's a good thing that we've been able to do that, because without him, it was, we were like guessing, what's wrong. So it's a blessing to have him in my corner, man.
What do you think have been the biggest differences, hooking up with George and getting back to where you were? What have you been doing differently? What have you been doing more of, less of?
We've been doing, mainly we've changed to more food. I've been eating a lot more than I ever have. And even at the beginning, it still was a process, First year we started working together didn't mean we were going to be ready for that next show.
Right.
It takes time for the body to start responding and start reacting the way it should. It doesn't happen overnight. So he was like, just be patient. I'm telling you, your body's going to start acting better. You're going to start changing. You're going to start putting on more muscle. Stuff that you lost, you're going to start getting back, So my glutes and all that stuff is back now. So,
Yep.
And he was 100% right, First thing I always said is, I never believed in George, but he's truly made me a believer. So all you guys out there, man, who seek out a trainer, what have you, and you got doubts, just stick with them. Do what they say 100%. You know what I'm saying? And after a year or two, if that's not working for you, then you go somewhere else. But give him a chance.
Now, another guy, you've been coming out to the West Coast and training pretty consistently with Charles Glass.
Right.
When did you start doing that, and what has that done for you?
And that's another thing that I've added to my repertoire. I'm in it. I'm getting towards the end of my career, and my career is pretty much went in stages. At first, when I first started, I was doing my own thing as a pro. I didn't have a trainer, and it was just straight genetics. I get ready for a show in 6 weeks, no cardio, no abs, none of that stuff. So all that was all good, but then I spoke with Flex Wheeler, and I was ready to take my, I was ready to go, take myself to the next level. And he was like, well, maybe you should get a trainer. I know it's the exact person for you, blah, 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 blah. And that's how me and Joe McNeil hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, the career that Joe and I had was pretty amazing. It don't get no better than that.
Yep.
Okay, so after a few years of that, Joe moves on, I move on, he's retired. And next thing I wanted to add was, it starts getting a little boring after a while, after you've been in the game for a long time, but you wasn't, but not ready to hang it up. So I added Charles. You spoof things up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So you want to try and do different things, man, to keep you motivated. So back home, I'm like the only pro in town. No one trains hard or no one there to spot me, no one there is stronger than me that can push me. So when I started coming out here to LA, when I started going to LA to work with Charles, and the first thing you do, you walk up and goes, man, there's 1,000 guys up in there stronger than you and bigger than you. So, that right there caught my attention, and when I started working with him and he got all these different movements and different ways of doing, exercises or what have you, tweaking that particular body part. I was sold. First time I worked out with him, I was like, wow. I was sore as hell. And the rest is history, man. I've been working with Charles now for about 3 years.
Yep.
So I actually, instead of going back and forth, spending, at first I was coming out to LA, stay there for about 2 weeks, then fly back home for 2 weeks, come back out to LA for 2 weeks. So all this time I'm spending money on plane tickets, hotel fees, and rental car fees, and food. So, Gail and I sit down and we're like, you know what? Why don't you just get a place out there? You got to worry about lugging all this luggage back,
Yeah.
Because if you know me, I every outfit I got a pair of shoes for it. So I'm taking 20 pair of shoes and all this stuff. So I'm lugging all this shit every 2 weeks. So it was just nice to be able to get a place out there, man. And I'm blessed to be able to do that. Have a place in LA and have one in Florida.
Yeah.
And leave all that stuff there, go home with one little bag. I've been doing that for 3 years. It's nice to be able to go to a place that you can call home instead of living out of a hotel as well. So I had one of my vehicles shipped out there as well. It wasn't expensive at all, like $700 I think it was. That right there saved me a ton of money from renting rental cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $700 a week for a rental car.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the rest is just a no-brainer, man. It was.
Now you're a pretty stubborn guy in some ways. So how was coming and working with Charles and him taking you out of your comfort zone? I mean, how difficult was that for you at first?
Well, when it comes to, I'm stubborn, but when it comes to guy or someone who has more knowledge than me, then the stubbornness is like, I'm like the student and that's the teacher.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the respect thing that I have towards Charles. You know what I'm saying? Just going into the gym and busting my butt and him saying, damn, that's a good one today, Dex. That's what made me feel good and want me to keep going. Is I don't want to let Charles down. I'm going to do my best when I get up in here. And you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people used to say, oh, Dexter don't train hard, blah, 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 blah. But, now they don't say that because they've seen some of the videos that Charles and I've done.
Yeah. Now, 2008.
Oh, one other thing.
Yeah.
And working with Charles as well is, you have to train smart. I've been doing this, 15 years now? And I've been on the top of the game of our sport, one of the elite for 15 years. And I credit all that stuff to, the decisions that I've made, the paths that I've built for my career. Well, with Charles as well, Charles don't do a lot of compound movements. We do like one maybe instead of most guys doing 4 or 5. And that's how you tear stuff. So, so I'm the prime example. Don't get it twisted about, you got to do every body part, every exercise. You have to do, super heavy and all these compound movements. Don't be afraid of the machine, man. Get out and get that machine working there too, man. All that stuff is, chess is chess. That's the way I see things.
Now, 2008, the best year of your career. Winning the Arnold, won your third Arnold in 2008, and then beating Jay Cutler and winning your first Olympia. After that, you do one contest in 2009, and you place third behind, obviously Jay, but third behind Branch Warren. Now, as a defending champion coming back, that doesn't, let's just say that doesn't typically happen unless you're maybe not at your best. And looking back at that contest, I wouldn't say that you were off. How hard was that for you to handle, and how much did that affect you?
It was very hard for me to handle. I thought about, I contemplated about retiring, being that I only won Olympia 1 year and what have you, but the only thing that kept me from retiring was I've been told my whole life I'm never going to amount to nothing, that I never win the title. But from coming from all the way from a bantamweight to win the Olympia, that's what I got in my head, and that's why I never retired. I say, you know what I'm saying? So I never set out. I never thought I could win Olympia anyway. I never thought I was big enough. But for me to actually win that competition, hey, that's, there's nothing else you can ask for, man. It's nothing else to be done.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So either way, it's a win-win, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
I'm not the best Mr. Olympia ever. I'm not the biggest Mr. Olympia ever. But that day I was the best and I deserved to win. And that's the way I look at things.
Yep. Now, after that, things, I don't want to say spiraling downward, but it was a downward trend.
Right.
You come back and just kind of looking at your placings. I think it was 4th at the Arnold in 2010, and then 4th at the Olympia, and then 2011, 5th at the Arnold, 2nd at the Flex Pro, a show that you usually would have cakewalked and won.
Correct.
And then 6th at the Olympia.
Right.
What's going through your head then? I mean, are those thoughts of retiring coming back into play? I mean, some people might even say this guy's an Olympia winner, and now he's placing 5th and 6th. He should probably just step away. What prevented you then from stepping away, and were you thinking about it?
Right at that point, no, because I knew inside that I wasn't done. Something was wrong. When I start coming in 100%, and then I start getting beat by guys that are not supposed to beat me, then we got a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't 100%.
Yep.
So that was one of the reasons why I didn't retire. Second reason is until I get put out of the top 6, I'm going to be around.
Yep.
If I'm 50, I'm still 6, Dexter's still going to be around.
Yeah.
You know, that's the elite of the elite.
No,
top 10 is elite still.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that makes you different. I think a lot of guys, I'm not saying it's better or worse, but like if Jay, I think is placed in 5th and 6th, I think he looks at it like that. That's not it for me. But you stayed in it, and then you kept going back.
See, Jay look at it because Jay's a big dude.
Yeah.
Jay's won Olympia 4 times, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I was never supposed to win none of this.
Right, right.
That's why I'm still in the game.
Yep.
It's a business for me.
Yeah.
I make a lot of money to go to the gym and work out for an hour a day. What am I going to retire for?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I get asked that all the time. Why? You've done everything. Why you still around? Hey, if you can find me another job where I make, a lot of money and just go to the gym an hour a day and eat, and eat as many times as I want a day. The diet sucks. Don't get me wrong. But if you can find me a job that you can work out an hour a day and chill for the rest of the day, you let me know. That's the way I look at it, man.
Now this Olympia puts you back on the map. Finishing 4th and being in the mix. A lot of people still saying, Dex probably could have finished, between you and Sean Rhoden in that 3-4 spot.
Right.
How does the mindset change after that? After this Olympia, after the Masters Olympia, knowing how you felt, but also hearing what people are saying?
Feels good, man. It's been a long time since I've been favored in a major show. And that's a blessing, man. George promised me, I can get you back to better than you ever been. I was like, ain't gonna happen. I said, what me and Joe did, you can't do that. He's like, okay. So we started working together, and you see that everybody's saying that Masters was my best ever. Whatever George say, I'm like this now. Let's do it, brother.
Was it your best ever? Because I'm looking back and I think, in my opinion, I wasn't at the Masters, but I thought the 2008 Arnold was the best that I've seen you. In your opinion, were you better at the Masters?
2008 Arnold was good. Yes, I know that. There's 2 different physiques. You know what I'm saying? Now, but I think people tend to forget it's been a while ago. You know what I'm saying? So you actually have to go dig in the archives to see what I look like in 06. This is a few times. 05 Arnold, 06 Arnold. I was pretty nasty, bro. You know what I'm saying? But for the Masters of Olympia, I was nasty too. And for this Arnold right here, it remains to be seen. But I think this is going to be a really, really good show.
Now, you originally were not, at the time of the Masters Olympia, your plan, I spoke with you, I think at the Nationals, was to do the Masters Olympia and then take some time off. Probably take off until, maybe the summer, maybe come back and do something and then get ready for the Olympia. What changed that mindset for you?
George, all in my ear at the Masters. Brother, there's no one in it. You're the top guy out of the Olympia that's going into the show. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, Branch ain't doing it? It's like, no. Wolf ain't doing it? No. Victor? No. But damn, I'm in it. Let's do it. so, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. If ever, I thought last year could have been a year, but my body was acting up a little bit still, wasn't 100% and nothing like that. I thought last year would be the perfect year for me to actually capture my 4th title in Ty Flex's record. But as you see, it didn't work out that way. And then come this year, it's even more open for that to happen. So I would be stupid not to just try.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'll be fine after this show to relax and get ready for the Olympia.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time to do that. But the question was, coming from Masters to the Arnold, will my body hold up? And it has. So now it's just, you know, it's a waiting game right now.
Yeah. The night of the 2008 Olympia, in a hotel room, you know, sitting with you about an hour before you walked over to the show. And, you know, at that point in time, you hear some things like we talked about, but you never know, you know, until it's finally announced. And what you said was, winning this title will put me up there with some of the best of all time.
Right.
What will winning a 4th Arnold title do for you?
The same. I want this as bad as I wanted the Olympia. Because it's Flex. It's someone that I've looked up to my whole life. And to be able to actually tie his record in and be next to him as the record holder, and to overcome all the stuff that I've overcome, you know, with my body and with me, my places dropping and all that stuff, and to be able to come back and win this show, man, it would be awesome.
Dexter Jackson, we'll see you on stage in a couple of days. Good luck to you.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.